Secret of DragonForce explained. Now, do we know that DragonForce, it's an amazing technique that's only exclusive to Dragon Slayers, and we know that, hell, it's even more exclusive to only first and third generations, and we know that DragonForce is basically an ability for Dragon Slayers that make them become humanoid dragons. I think that's really cool because they're basically like, they're becoming dragons at that point, but except a humanoid form, but at the same time, they're not becoming dragons, if that makes any sense. But throughout the series, we've only really been seeing Natsu get the DragonForce upgrades. I mean, they weren't naturally, but we saw it back in the Tower of Heaven arc when he ate the Ethereum and then he used DragonForce for the first time. That will be a forever iconic moment. The pose, the look, the scales, everything. I mean, at that point, Natsu, he was just a beast. I mean, that was the first time we really seen him use DragonForce. The next time is when he ate the Flame of Rebuke, and then he basically got another DragonForce from eating the flames. And at that point, he looked similar to the one that he got back in the Tower of Heaven arc. So I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a dope pose and everything, but it's not like something like, you know, as iconic as the first time you use it, but it was still cool. And the last time that we see Natsu use it, and the most recent time, is the natural DragonForce, which is my favorite because he looks like a beast. He looks so cool. He has the dragon scales, everything. I mean, it's just amazing. It's just amazing how he uses his. Now, the next one we'll talk about are the third generation Dragon Slayers, Sting and Rogue. I know they get a lot of hate, but they were actually the next people who we seen with DragonForce. And I mean, their DragonForce, to me personally, it actually looks very different. It looks very cool because what they have, they basically get markings. They don't get scales like we saw how Natsu did. So I found that really cool and interesting. Maybe those markings are their scales because we know that their dragons, they were very special. I mean, their dragons were light and dark, so maybe those are light and dark scales. But I know a lot of people, they don't like Sting and Rogue's DragonForce because they ended up getting shit and all by Natsu. I mean, that was just, I'm not gonna lie, that was disrespectful how Natsu just manhandled them. But yeah, they still used their DragonForce next. And the next person who used her DragonForce was Wendy. Now, we know that she got hers in her fight versus Ezel, and that was one of the greatest moments because she had her back up against the wall, and then she was forced to absorb the Eternal around after the face was about to be activated. And then we see something completely new. She gets like a whole new look, the pink hair, the long, like, she was just looking epic. And I mean, that me personally, that has one of my favorite DragonForce design because it's more of like a transformation at that point, you know what I'm saying? Like, it actually felt like I was witnessing like Super Saiyan or something. Don't get me wrong, Natsu's was cool and all, but he didn't get a full-on transformation to like natural DragonForce. So that's one thing. Wendy's DragonForce was dope and I loved it. Now, anime onlys, you guys might not know about this, but Gajio actually did finally obtain DragonForce. I know there's been a lot of misconceptions about him having DragonForce because people, they would think that when he turned his body into iron, that was DragonForce, or they think that Iron Shadow Dragon Mode was DragonForce. But no, those were not DragonForces. Those were just transformations. DragonForce, he actually gained it, his Iron DragonForce, in one of the recent arcs. So I'm not going to go too into detail, but yeah, let's just say our boy finally made it. Now, one of the biggest misconceptions that I've been seeing in my comment section and just everywhere in general is that Laxus has a DragonForce, and that is wrong. He does not have a DragonForce. A lot of people think that he has DragonForce because back in the fight versus him and Natsu, after he used his Lightning Dragon Roar, he basically had scales on, and to be honest, that was not a DragonForce. Look at it similar to how, like I just said, Gajio on his Iron mode, he may get scales or something, but that's not a DragonForce because he's not becoming a dragon at that, or he's not becoming a humanoid dragon at that point. All it was is that Laxus just outraged. He gained a huge boost of magic, but like I said, it's not a DragonForce. It's basically like a little transformation similar to Gajio. So yeah, Laxus and the other second generations, they cannot use DragonForce. But at this point, a lot of people have been wondering, what is the secret of DragonForce? Well, the secret is that DragonForce, it was meant to become something greater. And what do I mean by that? I believe that DragonForce, it is only a stepping stone for the Dragon Slayers. Now, we know that Acnologia, he's a human that's able to turn into a dragon because he no longer has his dragon inside of him, and his dragon couldn't prevent the antibodies from turning him into a dragon. So that's why he became a dragon. And on top of that, We know that he also killed a bunch of dragons and bathed their blood, but the thing about DragonForce is that it's supposed to be a humanoid dragon form. I believe that DragonForce, it's the step before you actually turn into your dragon. That's why I believe that Acting Loki, he never really uses a DragonForce, because he can already turn to a dragon. So what's the use of him actually coming out here and using a form that makes him become dragon-like when he actually can become a dragon? So this might sound a little bit messed up, but like DragonForce is like a cheap, like it's like a knockoff to become an actual dragon. If you were a true, I don't want to say true dragon slayer, but if you were I don't even know what word to use to describe Acting Loki. If you were a special dragon slayer like Acting Loki, and then you would turn into a dragon,